Hello and welcome back to another episode of Otafu Susume, or Recommendations for My Otaku Spouse. I'm Wesley.
And I'm Jen.
So let's get started. Today we are diving back into the world of manga, and it's a recommendation from me to Jen, and recommendation from Wesley with manga means there's a good chance it's going to be a romance manga.
Yes, highly likely.
And guess what?
What?
It is!
Oh my goodness.
Yes!
I couldn't tell.
This time I recommended to Jen Kono Kisekai Ningyo wa Koi o Suru, which is coming out in America in April, Volume 1.
April? Wow, that's soon?
April 2020, and it's going to be called My Dress-Up Darling.
My Dress-Up Darling. That's a good translation.
I like it, yeah. The literal translation, for all you people who think that localization is scum and you're wrong, is The Bisque Doll Falls in Love. But
that's kind of boring.
I think the thing people have to remember is that they're trying to sell this to people who aren't already deep enough into the culture that they've already read it.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're hoping the people who have already read it will pick it up again, which people should, because it's amazing.
And also I'm guessing, I haven't obviously read the fan translation, so I'm really hoping the official translation is a lot better, and it should be because of reasons. Because of reasons. Yes.
Anyway, so this is a romance manga. I've been reading this now for a little bit over a year. There's 4 volumes out in Japan. And hopefully Square Enix, who's releasing it in the US, will continue to release all 4 volumes. So buy it and support it. But no, it's great. Its basic plot rundown is we follow our hero, Gojo, who is a high school boy. And he is full of doubt and anxiety. So, cuts a little close to home there. But he really, really likes Hina dolls.
Well, his family run a Hina doll making business.
Well, his granddad.
That's family.
That's true, but we don't really see what his parents do.
That's true.
But, so he's liked him from a young age. And he kind of wants to take over the family business. But more than that, he just really likes Hina dolls, which are the little dolls that come out in March for Girls' Day in Japan. But they're not exactly something that most guys are into. And because kids can be cruel. Kids are cruel.
Kids are evil.
It's true. They made this very clear to him from a young age, which kind of pushed him into a shell where he was afraid to open up to people because he didn't want his interests to be trampled on again.
Yeah, because basically a girl when he was younger was like, ew, you like dolls. Dolls is only a girl's thing. You're gross.
Girls are the worst.
Girls are the worst. And children are the worst.
Oh, little boys attack physically. Girls attack psychologically.
Psychological trauma is horrible.
But back to Gojo. He's in high school now, and in his class is Marin, Kitagawa Marin. And she is like
Marin,
the complete opposite of him. She's really outgoing and super popular and fashionable and trendy and all these different types of things. And then she finds him in the home ec room after school where he's putting together an outfit for a Hina doll. And she's like, oh my goodness, you can sew. You got to help me, because it turns out she loves cosplay.
But she's never cosplayed before.
No, but she really wants to.
But she cannot sew to save her life.
But she's got passion. She's got dreams.
I've got dreams like you. No, really. Just much less touchy-feely.
And he can sew. So that's kind of where we get our, odd couple of the complete different personality types drawn together through almost a variety of mutual interests. It's not just cosplay, because a lot of it you get also Gojo really admiring the fact that Kitagawa can be so open with her likes and all those types of things. And just changing his people because of that. As I said, I've been reading this for over a year now. I really, really liked it. So I bought it. And I told Jen, you have to read this. It's so good. And it's about cosplay. And you love cosplay.
That is true. I love cosplay. And I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a read. I'm going to read the first volume.
And you did. Yes,
I did. And
then for some reason, you stopped.
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
No, I read the first volume and was like, oh, this is a little,
So what gave you the hesitation?
So the art is gorgeous. I have to say that. And you open the first page and there's Marin in lingerie.
Yes.
With massive boobs. And in the first chapter alone, and I counted, there are 6 boob shots, 3 crotch shots, and 1 butt shot.
Those are rookie numbers. We've got to pump up those numbers.
And I don't know, the first time I read it, the first volume, I just felt it was really sexualized. Like at the end of chapter 2, she's starting to take her clothes off, and that's the cliffhanger.
Yes.
And then in the start
I
of
think
chapter...
she does that in the beginning of chapter 1, too, when he's like, wait, why are you taking off your clothes? When she finds
and
them
she's
in
wearing
her
the
home ec room.
cosplay.
And because she's like, what? No, I'm showing you my cosplay. And he's like, oh my goodness, I can't deal with girls like this.
And then she takes off her clothes in the third chapter, and she's wearing a bikini.
Yes.
With just like a string bikini. Her she's very well endowed. And there's also this shot that you see where the camera's kind of looking up at her crotch and her boobs. And there are actually quite a few shots that you'll often see in hentai. So like when she gets really excited, she has a little heart inside her mouth, and just the angles. Like it was.
Well, you see that in quite a few romance comedies. It's more of a
romance
thing.
Comedies, a more harem.
I guess.
Basically, it's fan service.
Oh yeah, there's fan service definitely.
Yeah, there's 100% fan, and I just felt like.
And so you're saying in volume 1 there was enough fan service that you didn't appreciate the story.
Correct. It did really discourage me.
Okay.
However, I think it was probably about 3 months later, maybe.
Okay.
That I picked up volume 2, and I was like, I'm going to give it another go, because the last time you recommended a manga to me, I hated the first volume, and that was Komi-san Can't Communicate.
Yes.
And if you haven't heard that episode, you should go listen to it.
Yes.
And I hated the first volume because everybody just shat on the protagonist. And then after the second volume, things started actually getting good. And it's the same with this one. I was put off by the initial over-sexualization of it, but then after volume 2, I got really into it. I absolutely loved this manga.
Yeah, that's what I said.
But there were so one of the reasons I wanted to pick this up again was because I wanted to talk about fan service in manga. But this isn't. It took me in a direction I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting...
Come to the dark side of the Force.
I wasn't expecting this ecchi manga to actually have depth to it. Because you often get really, really ecchi manga like Toraburu and Yuna and the Haunted Hot Spring.
Yeah.
Which... I know both of those are harem.
You know what?
And full of fan service. They just don't have any depth to them.
You know what Trouble and Yuna and the Haunted Hot Spring have in common?
Are they both by the same artist?
No.
Oh, okay. What?
I haven't read either of them, and I wouldn't recommend either of them.
No, you've read a little bit of Yuna, and you agreed with me that it was very much I fell over. I fell over again. Oh no, my face is in your boobs.
It's a shonen thing. So like I was saying during one of our old episodes about Neverland, it's got 1 million volumes now. Yeah. But I think I read the first or the second and then stopped because there's no depth.
Yeah.
There's a lot, especially in modern discussion, there's a lot about fan service and male gaze and all sorts of things in all sorts of media. Movies, comics, manga, anime, video games, TV shows, what have you. And I guess personally I've never had an issue with it. It's not for me.
It's almost as if you're a guy.
No, but I mean, that's not...
Who likes gals.
No, but it's not for me, though. I don't read...
I see.
I don't read manga to get my rocks off. It's not why I watch movies or play video games. But I also don't have any issue with it being there, because if that's what the person wants to create, I'm not going to be the one to tell them they can't. But I'm also not going to go out and support it, because it's not what I'm interested in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so if this was just tits and ass for tits and ass, I probably wouldn't keep reading it. I definitely wouldn't have recommended it. I mean, a very similar manga that we've talked about in the past, that's actually currently also being released in the US, is called Gal Gohan.
Yeah, we got some of those on the shelf, and I haven't read it yet.
We've got volume 1 and volume 2, I think, on the shelf. And that's up to 9 volumes now. And yet somehow I've stopped buying them. And that's because it evolved into tits and ass and silly harem antics, as opposed to a decent story.
That's a shame.
And so for me personally, I'm okay with fan service to an extent, so long as that's not the reason I'm reading it.
Yes, I 100% agree with you. Which I know might sound a little hypocritical, considering my initial thought was, ew, this is overly sexualized, I don't want to read it anymore. However, I know that one of our other... I think also you have to be in a mood to read that kind of ecchi fan servicey manga. And I think it's definitely the case with one of the other ones that we both enjoy for probably obvious reasons is Plus Size Elf.
Yeah, I love Plus Size Elf.
And yes, there's fan service. It is abundant in fan service. The manga-ka was originally, and I'm pretty sure he still writes Dojin.
I don't think he does anymore.
He doesn't?
No.
Okay, I guess it's just
Methonium
his
hasn't come out.
account.
Synecdoche hasn't come out with anything new in a while.
Bareta!
He's done more fan servicey related things for other projects.
Yeah.
There's a thing we've seen in the bookstores about, there's like an anthology comic about
like elf
elves
soldiers
being attacked or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember the title of it, but he's done the cover for that and probably some of the inserts that we haven't read.
But, I mean, despite that it's fan servicey, which, like, sometimes you can be in the mood for that, it also has, it's just really funny.
Yeah.
And it's not all, I think that's another thing that bothers me about harem manga is all the women are like, oh my goodness, male protagonist, you're so amazing for no reason whatsoever, and we're all in love with you because reasons.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's so boring. At least in Plus Sized Elf, like, they don't really care about the protagonist at all, and they tend to...
Well, Plus Size Elf isn't a harem because nobody wants to get with him.
Exactly. And that's what makes it great.
But, yeah.
And it teaches you really good tips on exercising and keeping healthy.
Yeah, I like Plus Size Elf. But, yeah, so I guess that's my thing has always been, there's going to be tits and ass in almost anything that comes out. It's the same way that every Marvel superhero film has the hero take his shirt off. There's going to be that in there.
It's going to be some fan service.
There always is.
But it's not always about the fan service.
Is it about the fan service, or is it too much for you to appreciate what else is there? There's another manga coming out. Oh, Shinju no Dairani, Nectar of Dairani, something like that.
And you said that with such an American accent.
I'm American, Jen, deal with it.
What? But oh my goodness. How did I never know?
It's by the guy who did Seikon the Quasar.
I don't know that one.
I've never watched it or read it, but essentially all I know is there was a lot of boob sucking in it.
Boob sucking?
Boob sucking. And Nectar of Dairani has the same thing, except for they've changed it slightly. And it's like on some level, I'm really into this because you've got this weird fantasy world that's kind of got like Napoleonic level tech, and you've got weird political intrigue and everything. But then you've got this weird subsystem where, like, I don't know.
You just gotta suck tit.
If the main character sucks right tits, he gains special powers that are essentially like Final Fantasy summons.
Wow, okay.
And because of all the political intrigue and the weird stuff that was going on, I was kind of interested. And then it got to a few chapters where it just evolved into like weird demonic sex orgies, page after page after page after page.
Oh,
and I'm like, okay, I'm pretty much done with this.
Yeah.
So,
and if that's someone's cup of tea, that's someone's cup of tea.
No,
but it's just not.
Seikon no Quasar came out in America. It was obviously popular enough to get localized both the manga and the anime, I think.
Wow.
But
that wasn't Funimation, was it?
I have no idea. But so there's going to be fan service, and everyone's going to have their own level of what they deem acceptable.
Yes.
I just don't like when people decide to take their limit and try to force it on others.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, don't hate on other people just because they like something you don't like.
Yeah, don't kink shame.
If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all.
Unless you're doing a podcast, then you're going to rip into it.
And don't kink shame.
Hey! But yeah,
so yeah, going back to...
So volume 1...
Wait, what was this called in English again?
My Dress Up Darling.
So going back to My Dress Up Darling.
Yes.
Yes.
So all of a sudden in volume 2, you got into it.
Yes.
Was there a point?
Yes.
Okay.
There was, because you walked into the living room and I was crying.
Yes.
So I literally just found out that morning that I'd failed an exam. And this is an exam that I tried multiple times and I just couldn't seem to pass it. I can't seem to pass it. And I know it just reminded me of this frustration that I've always felt where no matter how hard I try, I can't seem to, like, be better than what I'm trying to be.
Okay.
And I'm reading... Oh my goodness, I'm getting tearful now. I told you this manga has depth. Or at least it just resonated with me. But in volume 2, he's agreed to make this cosplay for Marin. And Gojo is... like his granddad just collapsed and he was in hospital, and then he was moved to his aunt's cousin's
I think
house?
it's his mum's, right? He's staying in his granddad's house, but I think he's with the granddad.
No, I think that was his...
Because he was staying with his granddad because he wants to learn about Hina dolls.
Yeah.
which is why he's staying there. But I think
his granddad goes to stay with a relative while he recovers from being hospitalized. And so he's at home alone, and he's like, oh my goodness, I completely forgot I've got to make this cosplay for Manin within 2 weeks. And oh crap, midterms are up, and I've got to do all of these things in 2 weeks. I have to do everything. And so he runs himself ragged, and it's during the middle of break, and he's like, my head hurts, I feel sick, I think I'm going to throw up, the room is spinning, I can't sleep, everything's on the floor, the cosplay's half made, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to be able to make this cosplay for her, and I feel terrible about it. And then he goes into sort of, I haven't touched the brush in days. I haven't practiced making Hina dolls in days. All of my materials are just sitting on the desk. Maybe I'm just not cut out to make Hina dolls. It doesn't matter how much I love it, I'm just not cut out for it. And no matter how hard I try, I'm not going to be able to succeed. And he says, I just feel like I'm never really going to succeed in doing this. I'm never going to get any better. Why is it every single time I try, I never do well? Everything I do is half-assed. And he's so frustrated, and he just lies there and cries. And I was like, no, that's how I feel. No.
And all of a sudden you had to read the rest of it.
And then I had to read the rest of it. And that's when I realized these characters have so much depth to them.
They're people.
They're people. They feel like people. They feel like fleshed out people. Mm-hmm. And not just because Manin is naked half the time.
Well, there's definitely flesh there.
There's flesh there. Actually, that's one thing I also really, really appreciate about this manga is that Manin is a high school girl, mm-hmm. and she loves ecchi stuff. She loves hentai. She loves like adult video games, and she loves, and she wants to cosplay the characters that she loves. And that is partially why there is a lot of flesh that shows. However, it also shows that girls can like this stuff too. And I know a number of my female friends really like ecchi and hentai and adult stuff, but people always assume that it's just for guys. And so I appreciate that they're actually kind of showing a demographic of women who like this stuff, because it's true. Even Japanese women enjoy adult stuff. And it's really funny when he goes to her bedroom or her apartment, I guess, and it's just covered in posters from adult video games. Yeah. And he's like, whoa. I don't know. And she has like this confidence that I think that's also what Gojo really likes about her as well, is that she has this confidence that he's lacking. Yeah. And he thinks that she's just, not perfect, but he thinks that he's kind of sees her as being something that he wants to be. As
someone to aspire to.
Yeah, someone to aspire to.
Because there's a bit right in the first chapter when they're in class and he's kind of sitting off on his own, and one of the other popular kids comments on an anime keychain on Marin's bag. And he was like, why would you be into that? Is an anime for geeks or something like that? And she's like, hey, hold it. People can like what they like. Don't rag on people for that. And because the whole time Gojo's been kind of repressing his like for Hina dolls because he doesn't want it to get trampled on. He's like, oh, I wish I could do that. And so the romance unfolds. It's not just, oh, I'm harem lead A with no qualities whatsoever.
Falling in love with protagonist A with no qualities. Yeah.
And so you have flawed characters, and you have characters who have pluses and minuses, and you have all these things about them. And it's not just, oh, this is going to be our male lead and female lead, and now we got to have hijinks and all that crap. But just kind of let them figure out who each other is and see where it goes from there. Yeah.
And then they have other characters coming in, and he starts talking to them, and he sees although initially they seem really confident, but then you start talking to them and they all have their own anxieties and they all have their own internalized worries. And he realizes he's not the only one with anxieties. And he kind of tells them what he's learned from watching Manin, which is, you can like you can like whatever you like. You can, everybody has their own issues that you can't see, but it doesn't mean they're not there. It doesn't mean you're the only one suffering kind of attitude. And it's so sweet. Yeah, just the interaction between all the characters is absolutely fantastic.
And I think you almost dropped it.
I'm really glad I didn't drop it. I'm really, really, really glad I didn't drop it.
Yeah, me too.
Also partially because it's all about cosplay.
I know, that's why I originally recommended it to you.
But it's not just about cosplay. It feels like the manga-ka either cosplays themselves, knows people who cosplays, or did their research really, really well, because so much of it is true.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, there's been work put into it.
Yeah. Like, about the cosplay meets, about the fact that Japanese cosplayers have cosplay names, and within the cosplay community, people will tell each other their cosplay names, but you never, ever tell somebody your real name. And that's something that comes up as well. And all the photography aspect, they go into this whole thing about photography and about picking out fabrics and about wigs and about all the tricks you can use. There's a part where she wants to show off her boobs for a cosplay, so she wears 2 bras. That is a technique you can use to make your boobs look bigger for a cosplay. And on the flip side, the cosplayer does crossplay and dresses up as a guy, and she really struggles to bind her boobs down, but then manages to by wearing similarly 2 boob repressors. I don't know, binders, that's what they're called. You're just giving me this really blank look, and I'm like, it's all true. It's all stuff that happens. It's great.
I imagine it is, but it's not my world. So I don't know as much as you, but I was able to clearly tell from the details that work was put in.
Yes. And they did a great job explaining it so that even somebody who's never cosplayed and has no idea about cosplay, I mean, I'm guessing you know a little more about cosplay now because of this.
Yeah, they got some of the camera stuff wrong, but...
So they got their cosplay research right, but they got the camera stuff wrong.
What the camera stuff they put in there is right, but also wrong.
Fair enough.
So, you like the characters?
Yes.
On the fence about the fan service?
I was originally, but I think, like I said, I had to be in the mood for it. And I really like it now. They do a great job at anatomy. I have to say that.
Yes. I guess one thing, because it can't all be gushing. What do you mean?
I ripped it apart at the beginning with the fan service.
No, just one thing that I keep noticing with each volume that comes out. That I'm like, wait, is the cover of each volume, once you're past volume 2, has to do with the next volume. The cosplay she's wearing on the front of volume 3 is the cosplay she wears in volume 4. The cosplay that's on the front of volume 4 is the cosplay that she's going to be wearing in volume 5.
True.
Which is kind of weird to me.
They introduce the start of the process of making that cosplay in that volume.
That's true, yeah.
So in volume 1, she's wearing normal clothes. In volume 2, she's wearing...
Her first costume,
and then second costume, and then third costume.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that was annoying. You was like, I want to see this cosplay, and it's not here.
Well... Because I've read the manga, I saw, volume 4 is coming out, and it's got Prisoner Veronica on the front. Oh, we must be getting to the end of those chapters in this volume. And then I read it, and I'm like, oh, wait, no, the Prisoner Veronica chapters aren't in here. That'll still be yet to come. So I already know that in volume 5, when it comes out, it's going to be the Prisoner Veronica chapters that I've read. And I always want more to come out.
Yes.
And so...
I want more.
And so the fact that I'm like, I'm still going to buy it, because of course I'm going to buy it, but I've already read these chapters. I'm just going to have to reread them, but I still need more to come out, like,
now.
Yesterday.
Yeah. Speaking of, that was a really fun anecdote, was we went to buy volume 3, I believe, when it came out. Mm-hmm. And Wes seems to have really bad luck when it comes to manga being released, because he's like, I really want to get this manga. It's just come out this weekend. Let's go to the bookshop and get it. We go to the bookshop. We go to this display case, and look, they've sold out of volume 3.
Or they haven't put it out yet.
Or they hadn't. No, I didn't. Oh, no.
Sometimes when I go, they haven't put it out yet.
Okay.
And sometimes they've sold out.
They've sold out. I think they sell out more than they haven't put it out. Because we went to 4 bookshops.
Well, when I went to get Otaku Volume 8, I went, that was the day it was supposed to come out, and everything was just like, no, we'll be putting this out tomorrow.
Seriously?
And I'm like, but you're Animate.
Okay, so note to self, wait till the day after.
At least, I guess, yeah.
Maybe that's why that's a way to encourage people to pre-order.
I don't know. All I know is it's annoying. Because I keep trying to buy these manga that I like to support them, to support the authors that I like. And half the time I have to go to Amazon.
Well, not necessarily. We'll just pick it up the next time we go out, because we go out pretty much every single weekend.
Yeah, but I don't want to wait, so I usually buy it from Amazon.
Fair enough. But yeah, that was funny because we found the display and they even had this really nice display all like promoting this manga, and then they're like, oh no volume 3. Like, no.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Wes.
One of the things about this also that I was really glad that the author didn't do was the author introduced more characters, as you were saying. There's other cosplayers that show up and things like that. And the manga didn't just suddenly devolve into shitty harem antics.
True.
Which I was really, really grateful for.
Yes. It's definitely, I think it's a slow burner in a really good way.
Yes.
Like, they have the pacing down perfectly.
Yeah.
Enough that you really, really want to read the next chapter. But at the same time, the story isn't rushed. Like, they take their time.
Yeah, if something needs to be lingered on, it's going to be lingered on.
Yes. And it is. And it will be. And the pictures are so pretty. There are so many just really nice shots.
Well, like you were talking about how they go into the detail of all the cosplay with the buying of fabrics and everything.
Yes.
And some of the close-ups of the fabrics and the laces and things used are just really, really good.
And then also with some of the actual like photo shoot pictures they do are just really just pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next page you have them Marin gushing over something, and she's so cute. She has this adorable little, my goodness, I love this so much look on her face.
Yeah, she's actually a fan.
She's a huge fan, and she loves everybody else who loves stuff, and she just creates this passion and this enjoyment, and it's just, it's so cute. I love it to pieces.
An interesting thing about this, and I mean, shoot, even other manga I've already mentioned in this episode, is there seems to be this surge of gal manga.
Gyaru, yeah.
Gyaru. So she's Gyaru. I mentioned Gal Gohan earlier, which I've dropped, but another one that I really like and keep buying that I haven't made you read yet is Yansha Garu no Anjo-san.
I feel like you've mentioned that one.
That's the one that I picked up the other day.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that one's really good. There's one about Hokkaido gals coming out right now.
Really?
It's not that good.
Oh.
It looks like it's going into the harem route, and the main character's got as much personality as a wet sponge. Of course, a big one in the States that came out, or the anime came out, I think last year, maybe the year before, was Hajimete no Galgo-chan, which I never saw. But there is definitely this
weird resurgence of gyaru. Even though gyaru aren't really a thing anymore in Japan, at least not in the quote-unquote traditional sense of the noughties.
Yeah, and I guess quick disclaimer to everyone, gyaru does not mean blackface.
No, it just
that pops up occasionally on Twitter and Japanese adjacent blogs. Gyaru is not blackface.
No.
It's a teen style that's essentially a rejection of the Yamato Nadeshiko perfect Japanese girl norm.
So it's kind of the idealization of Western girls with blonde hair.
No, it's not even the ideal of Western girls. It's just a rejection of the idealized Japanese girl.
And
instead of straight black hair, you've got updo with color.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of
the palest of pale, the lights have gone. The torches of Gondor have been lit.
Yeah, I mean, but it's instead of
but the opposite of that, it's more tanned.
Yeah, instead of subdued makeup, it's heavy makeup. Instead of subdued fashion, you're gonna be very flashy and bling everywhere, and so that's. There's this resurgence of it, and this main character is definitely a gyaru. She's not in the tan skin, blonde hair gyaru style, but definitely gyaru.
Not at the start.
I was saying even Komi-san. The big thing I was telling you to look forward for when you keep reading is a gyaru character is going to show up in that, who's an amazing character. So if you like gyaru manga, I'd also recommend this.
Oh, Biddy Gyaru. Actually, that's really old,
Gyaru,
but...
but the movie wasn't that long ago, and it was really good.
That's true. That's fun. And that was actually
called
a true
Flying
story.
Colors in America. It's a really good movie. Highly recommended.
Yes. About a gyaru who's failing school, and she decides to get into one of the most difficult universities ever, and it's based on a true story, so it's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
And the actress who they have in the movie is probably one of my favorite Japanese actresses.
Yeah, she does a great job, too.
She does a fantastic job. But yeah, no, you make an excellent point that in recent years...
There's definitely
boom. More. There's a gal boom.
There's a gal bubble. What's going to happen when the gal bubble bursts?
There's going to be gals everywhere. I mean, you say there's definitely a boom, but I feel like there's also not as many. Oh, then again, I mean, Japan's just going through this massive manga boom right now. There's just manga everywhere.
Yeah.
Which I think is partially because of Western consumption of manga and it becoming a lot more lucrative because of it being consumed all around the world legally, I should add.
And which draws me right back to the fact that I actually didn't know that this manga was coming out in the West until today.
Yeah,
they were reading this. All of a sudden, I was like, oh, shoot, I'm going to have to come up with a title to call this in English for the podcast. And then all of a sudden, I saw something saying, oh, it's been licensed. I was like, wait, by who? By what? By when?
By Square Enix.
By Square Enix.
In April.
In April.
And I had no idea until you told me literally a second before we started recording.
I know! It's great, but I love the
get
fact...
the official release in April.
We gave a brief background as to, what the story is about, but Square has actually made a really succinct, cute kind of YouTube trailer for this.
Really? Oh, we'll link it in the doobly-doo.
Yeah, so we'll link this down. It's obviously on YouTube, I just said, and then it's on the actual Square US publishing page, which is probably not the same website where you'll find all of their game stuff. I have no idea. But no, yeah, we'll link it down below. Definitely check it out. Definitely watch that video. And if you're at all interested, I highly recommend picking up the manga.
Yes, 100%. I mean, this is one that I've actually fallen in love and finished the whole series that we have. Out of all the ones that you recommended to me, I still need to finish Komi-san. I still need to finish Rookies.
You hate everything I recommend.
I mean, I don't hate it. I just don't fall in love with it to the same extent that you do.
You finished rough.
I did. It was rough going, but...
Ouch. And that's where we're going to end this one. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
I'm Wesley.
And I'm Jen.
And we are Otafu Susume, or Recommendations from My Otaku Spouse.
And you can find us on Twitter at Anniebrace Creative, as well as our other sister and brother podcasts at anniebracecreative.com.
Check us out, leave comments, and we'll be back with more episodes.